right, y'all. What's going on? What's going on? We are about to get into yet another episode of 8090. It's your host with the most big 60 God 60.
Is awesome.
And we're about to get into another episode of
welcome to Dawn of the
8090. We're gonna play Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and we're gonna listen to my homeboy Morg. And yeah, as we say, the deeper we dive, the higher we climb.
Earth. Today we are taking a deep dive into the darkest power of King Solomon and Sophia's secret role. Something that's hardly ever talked about, but incredibly important. We're going to be exploring the idea of your mind as the temple and the demons as inner sub-personalities that you have to be able to understand how to command, to construct your inner temple. This is really important stuff. We're going to start right away here. I just did a full video on King Solomon, but now we're taking an even closer look at this and exploring the verses and understanding what it really means and how it applies to your life. It's going to be really good. So we're getting started right away, but as always, my friends, remember this is way more than a channel. We are a revolution of consciousness here to wake the world the hell up. We're making enlightenment go viral. We're spreading what they tried to bury. So make sure you hit like, subscribe, and share to spread this like fire. If you want to help out even more, consider becoming a member. You get access to a lot of great stuff, like members only videos. We're having a members only video right after this called Are the Gospels Actually Forgeries? This absolutely blew my mind when I first understood this, coming from an ex-Christian perspective. Anyway, but there's hundreds of members-only videos, as well as you get access to free downloads on inner transformation that I put together, like Kabbalah and Tarot, or not Tarot, but Alchemy and the Tree of Death and rituals, a lot of great stuff. And as always, you can also check out my books as well. And if you're looking for a free way to support, a great way to do that is by following me on Spotify. That's a great free way to support because we're reaching a lot of new people over on that platform. So if you have a Spotify account, go follow me there. Links to all of those things are in the description of this video. All right, my friends, so let's get started. Like I said, I recently did a full video on King Solomon and Ashmodei, the king of demons and the building of Solomon's temple. But we're going to take an even closer look at this today and exploring Sophia's role in a deeper way as well. Because one thing that we have to understand here is that if we step back and take a look at who King Solomon is considered to be, King Solomon, his whole shtick, his whole thing, is he is supposedly the wisest man in the world. The wisest man in the world. Well, this links us up directly with the goddess of wisdom, Sophia. Sophia is the Greek word for wisdom, and she is an incredibly important figure in Gnosticism. But she shows up in other books as well, including the Bible itself, and a book called The Wisdom of Solomon. You could even call it the Sophia of Solomon. There's a Gnostic book called the Sophia of Jesus Christ. You could call it the Wisdom of Jesus Christ. So we're going to see how all this connects here. Now, first of all, what we have to realize and understand is that when we're talking about King Solomon, the control over the demons, Solomon's ring, the building of the temple, the connection to Sophia, we have to understand that these are all stories that represent a deep inner truth about ourselves and how reality works. They are not literally true.
Everything. Whoa! Never done a season like this. Not
It is not about an actual historic event that happened thousands of years ago or whatever. What these stories do is, in a symbolic form, transmit a truth about ourselves and reality. It's kind of like this. If you look at the different apps on your phone, the different app symbols aren't actually real. They stand for something else. If you have an app with a little camera symbol on it, it's obviously not a real camera, but it allows you to access different aspects of your phone without having to be a coder. Same thing when you work on your desktop computer. You have like a little trash can, and you have folders, and you can drag a folder into the trash can. It's not like there's little teeny tiny trash cans or little tiny folders. These are symbols that allow you to understand and manipulate a process that's actually at a coding level, okay? So these stories are a bit like that. It's not exactly like that, but it's a bit like that. They are symbols that represent archetypes, which are structures of the psyche, okay? So your psyche, your mind, your soul, because your soul is your mind, psyche literally means mind and soul. Psyche is the Greek word for soul, but it's also the Greek word for mind. So your mind, your soul, operates on all of these patterns like a code. And these stories, like app symbols or icons, represent the organization and structure and evolution of your mind, soul, and psyche in a story form. Really important to understand that, really important to grasp that, because then everything changes. You have to understand these stories as archetypal symbolic structures, representing those symbolic structures rather than actual historical events. Then everything changes when you understand that. So let's take a look at the key features here of the story of King Solomon. You obviously have King Solomon himself. You have the Ring of Solomon. You have the demons that Solomon commanded. You have the temple that the demons built under the command of Solomon. You have Asmodee, the king of demons, or Asmodeus. And you have Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. Think of all these like different apps or different functions on your phone. Alright? Now, the idea here is to organize your psyche in such a way that all these functions are interacting harmoniously. Now on a phone, of course, it's designed to act harmoniously, so there's really no issue, unless you have a virus or something like that. But your mind is not like that. That's where the analogy is not complete. Your mind is more like an orchestra. Think of each structure as having its own instrument. If they are all playing their own song, it's totally out of tune, it's just chaos, it's just noise. But if you can conduct them and direct them, then you create a beautiful, harmonious symphony. Okay? So, the story of King Solomon, understood this way, all right? Very important, understood this way. Starts with the ring, okay? So King Solomon is given a ring by the archangel Michael, or Michael. And the testimony of Solomon says, the angel Michael brought me a little ring having a seal consisting of engraved stone, and said to me, take, O Solomon, king, son of David, the gift which the Lord God has sent me. With it thou shalt lock up all the demons of the earth, male and female, and with their help thou shalt build up Jerusalem, but thou must wear this seal of God. In other texts, it says that it's typically understood that the Ring of Solomon has, I believe, the name of God engraved on it. Yeah, so according to the Talmud, it says that he had a ring onto which a sacred name of God was carved, okay? So this is a ring with the sacred name of God. Now, the name of God is very important in understanding this. So if you look back to like the story of Lilith, when Lilith uttered the name of God, she became a being of immense power. So the name of God is a connection to something powerful. That's what that means. All right. So here's what's going on. King Solomon, when Solomon is wearing the ring engraved with God's name on it, that represents your higher connection to your higher self. That's what that represents. When you wear the ring engraved with God's name, that represents your connection to your higher self, your true self, not your egoic self, but your eternal, soulful self. So King Solomon represents that when he is wielding the power of God with the ring engraved upon it of God. That's that connection to the higher self.
The holidays are brutal. Kick back with Blockbuster Movie streaming free. Revising season meetings on Pluto TV. Pay number.
With Dupixent, stay ahead of your child's moderate to severe eczema with clearer skin and less itch. The #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists to help heal their skin from within. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor. Ask your child's doctor about Dupixent.
Now, when he has this ring, he's able to command, call forth, he's able to call forth and command the power of demons.
It's one of them things that only happens because of the environment.
All of your shadow forces, all your unconscious forces, all the aspects of yourself that reside in the background and can control your life, like wrath, envy, jealousy, greed, addiction, etc. And when you come to them from the authority of the higher self, you have the authority to command them and direct them. Because these powers are not necessarily evil. These powers are just energy, but they're directed in a negative way. And so, what you are supposed to do is connect to your higher self and then command the power of demons. And this is not just in this particular tradition, but you find this in like the magic of Gunnaland the Mage, where you first contact your Holy Guardian Angel, the HGA, which represents your higher self. Then with the authority of the Holy Guardian Angel, which represents your higher self, you then begin to encounter the demon kings and different hosts of demons and have them essentially bow to you and become subservient to you. Now, if this sounds really wild and
Because
out
they
there,
think it's gonna fix it.
guess what? Modern
They think it's gonna,
psychology
if you make your
agrees with this.
skin stronger, then it doesn't.
Modern depth psychology agrees with this, particularly Jungian psychology, as well as IFS therapy, which is internal family systems therapy. Okay? So, Jungian psychology sees this in very much the same way. You have different unconscious complexes that reside in your mind, which are essentially your inner demons that have to be brought to light and coordinated with your psyche, your higher self. Okay? Now, in IFS, it's even more on the nose, because in internal family systems, it's basically looked at is that every human has a form of dissociative identity disorder. Meaning, we are all formed up by sub-personalities. We have all these different competing sub-personalities.
Yeah.
And in IFS, they call them managers, firefighters.
It's like the apartment manager special, they just spray water, just spray paint all over it.
Parts of you, like your wounded inner child.
Roaches and everything.
That's a part of you. It's a sub-personality.
Still gonna make you itch when you look at it.
In the shadows. And then the managers and the firefighters are often trying to affect you in such a way that they hide the exiles and get you to avoid negative triggers. So for example, the firefighters and managers work in different, they're also subpersonalities of yours. So for example, a manager may drive you to become a workaholic. Because if you're constantly working, you'll become so distracted that you never look within at the inner parts of you that are hurt. So a manager is an inner part of you that has sort of this, it has these long-term sorts of routines to keep you distracted, like working too much. However, a firefighter is different. Let's say that the work of the manager fails and you still get triggered. Someone says something to you that triggers unresolved pain and trauma. A firefighter goes, oh shit, there's trauma occurring. Go drink alcohol. Go do drugs. Go gamble. Distract yourself. So you see the difference. A manager is sort of this planned out way of avoiding the experience of inner trauma, and a firefighter is like, oh no, inner trauma is happening right now. We got to do something about it. Now these are not good things. Don't go out there and drink and do drugs and gamble. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that these are your inner demons: wrath, envy, jealousy, addiction, gambling, whatever. Greed, whatever, all that. These are your inner demons. But if you notice, they're not trying to hurt you. They actually think that they're protecting you. That's the key thing to understand about demons and subpersonalities and parts that the ancients didn't fully grasp. They looked at demons as more as being like something enemies. But the thing is that these demons think that they're helping you. Like, oh no, inner trauma, go drink alcohol. Well, that's not great, because you become an alcoholic, but it thinks that it's helping. And that's because these subpersonalities, these parts, these demons, are functions of the psyche that develop at an early age as a self-defense mechanism.
Chinchi, please do my beat.
Oh, is that your homework? Yo, I see Loki cooking. Hold on. Oh, hold on, yo, let me help you. If you like co-producer and finding samples that fit your song, make sure to check out the link in the description. You can try it for free. Let's go. I kind of just want some reggaeton. This one. Okay, one more.
You've revealed a weakness. This is your fleeting moment.
Come on, fuck.
The weak point is secure, Earthling.
Bitch.
Shop your new mattress your way at Ashley. Browse our wide selection online from the comfort of your home. Or come in and see what feels good at one of our conveniently located stores. Shop Ashley in store or online today.
They developed as a self-defense mechanism. But now that you are older, these self-defense mechanisms are no longer serving you. They're hindering you and getting in your way. So, for example, in IFS therapy, what you do is you unblend with your parts. You actually imagine your different parts as beings with a name, and you do an active imagination session where you unblend with them. That is, you so that they're not meshed up within you. But dialogue.
No, that shit does this some days and don't do it other days.
And direct it towards something that's actually helpful in life, right? So you're
directing that energy. Now what you'll notice is this is just demonic evocation. In magic, in demonic evocation, you evoke a demon. That image of the demon is in front of you, it has a name, it has a symbol, and you have a dialogue with it, and you direct its energy. So something like IFS therapy is the same thing as magic and demonic evocation, just with different names and different labels. You're saying firefighters, managers, and exiles instead of, different classes of demons or something like that. So it's really, interesting when you think about it. When you have this perspective, you understand it's kind of almost funny in a certain way that the psychology is just magic, and magic is just psychology. So you have all these, therapy sessions, which is demonic evocation. Hey, it's just done in a different, instead of wearing a robe, you're lying on a couch. But it's the same kind of idea. It's the same thing that's happening. So, like in IFS therapy, when you approach the parts as the self, this is like wearing the ring of Solomon, which is your connection to the higher self. When you wear the ring of Solomon, you're connected to your higher self, and therefore you have authority over demons. Same thing of IFS therapy. When you're connected to the higher self, you unblend with your parts, and you're able to direct your parts from the authority of the self, of your true self. So you have the same sort of thing going on here. So what I'm trying to get across here is I'm trying to show you guys how these stories represent actual processes happening in your soul and your psyche. So when King Solomon is wearing the ring, he's able to command the demons. And what does he do? He builds the temple with the power of the demons. And the temple represents what? Your mind, your psyche. So when the demons are organized, when those dark forces are organized, you're able to construct a glorious temple. That is a harmonious psyche. That's what that means. Now, one thing that they did get wrong, though, and it's really important, is they saw the demons as ultimately evil. And so you have the story of Solomon, like, whipping these demons, and basically, like, treating them like slaves. You don't want to do that. That's not good, because these are parts of you. And so think about that. If you're doing this with your inner parts and be like, you better do this, or basically like, fuck you, it's like it has developed as though it's its own personality, and so through your strength of will, it may obey to some degree, but it won't be in total harmony. It will be looking for a chance to rebel. And you see that in the story of Solomon. When Solomon even when Solomon overthrows the demon king Asmodeus, he's in constant fear of his return. He's in constant fear of his return. This demon that he like whipped and flogged and made built a temple and treated like a slave, and then etc. Solomon's in constant fear as men surrounding his bed. It says, "Behold the bed of Solomon, surrounded by 60 strong men from the warriors of Israel, all of them holding swords and trained in war, each man with his sword on his thigh from fear in the nights." Solomon was filled with constant fear, trepidation, and terror at the thought of Asmodeus' return. So, That's what happens. That's one of the key things that unfortunately the ancients got wrong most of the time. Seeing these as forces to treat in a very ill way. So you can imagine if something else were done, instead of treating Ashmodei like this, but instead of Solomon befriended Asmodee, not as an equal, but like I have the authority of God, but here, join me, and with your power, we will both be raised into the light and transformed. Because it's a part of you. Now you have Asmodee willingly helping, and now you don't have to fear a return. And a return in terms of psychology, that's known as complex possession. When a complex overrides your egoic identity and takes over, and you have outbursts, and you do something stupid. People are like, oh, I don't know what came over me. That wasn't me. That's not who I am. That's complex possession. That's an inner part taking over and controlling, which is equivalent to demonic possession, or like Ashmodee's return, something like that. Because Ashmodee actually was on Solomon's throne for a while because he overthrew Solomon. We'll talk about that in a minute. But that's what I really want to hammer home here. By the way, I want you to let me know in the comments if you guys like these deeper dives, because I already did a video on King Solomon. I put forward like an edited video, but I've been playing around with the idea of doing additional supplemental videos afterwards, going even deeper. So let me know if you like that, because that's what I'm doing today, and if you do enjoy that, we'll continue doing that for the videos that I put out. Okay, but this is what I'm really trying to get across here, is to see what's
Get up
actually
there,
going
bitch.
on. The processes that are actually happening. Alright? So, when King Solomon is connected to the higher self, he's wearing the ring engraved with the name of God, he's able to command the power of the people. Unfortunately, he treats them in an ill way, in a negative way, thus he's always in fear of them. But nonetheless, he's able to coordinate their energy and they build the temple. And that's like you coordinating your parts, that's the chaotic energy within you, to build a harmonious psyche. Instead of your parts fighting each other, because they're sub-personalities. They will fight each other. They'll fight you. Think about it like this: you have a part of you that wants to eat junk food all day, and you have a part of you that wants to work out and go on a diet. The very fact that you have this struggle shows that you have various parts to you. If you didn't have various parts, if you were wholly unified with no parts whatsoever, there would not be a question of it. You wouldn't be torn. You wouldn't have things pulling you in different directions. You wouldn't have this inner tug of war. The very fact that you do displays the fact that we are made up of these complexes or subpersonalities or demons and angels, whatever you want to call them. The angels and demons, heaven and hell, the temple, it's all in our head, in our soul. The structure of our eternal essence organizing itself. That's what's happening. So we want to organize our inner psyche by harnessing these forces and coordinating them. That's what you do in IFS therapy. You have a dialogue with them and you organize them and you coordinate with them. That's also what's known as individuation in Jungian psychology. Individuation means individuate, becoming a one, a unit, a whole. And so that's what you're doing. You're creating this noise into a symphony. And that's the story of King Solomon wearing the ring, commanding the demons to build a glorious temple, a individuated psyche. Again, the mistake that Solomon made was that he didn't treat them well, he treated them poorly, and that's just treating yourself. It might work for a little while, but you're always going to be in fear of those parts of you, those parts of you rising up.
Superlight PC is a smaller, compact version of the iconic Superlight mouse. Height changes, width changes, length changes, staying very true to the original super powerful, reduce the dimensions in all the right areas to make this fundamentally feel like a new shape, allowing for smaller hand players as well as those that just float their hand off the mouse, kind of claw style grips, to be able to have enough freedom of movement to
Sophia is an incredibly powerful being known as an Eon. And Christ is even sometimes considered an emissary of Sophia, or sometimes even an avatar of Sophia. Sophia is this Eon, and remember though, this all represents the aspects of yourself. Okay, so what does Sophia represent? Sophia represents wisdom, and it's the wisdom, the inner wisdom, that allows for the connection to your higher self to occur. Okay? When you are connected to the wisdom of Sophia, that means you have cultivated the aspects of yourself necessary to connect to your higher self. And these symbols are everywhere. So if you're familiar with like tarot cards, the High Priestess is that function. The High Priestess is that function. Same thing in Kabbalah. It's the path from Tiferet to Keter, the crown. The inner solar self to the crown, the higher self. In Jungian psychology, that's just called the inner self axis. Axis, A-X-I-S. The inner self I'm sorry, what did I say? I mean, it's the ego self axis. The ego self axis, okay? It connects the ego to the self. And so whatever you want to call it, that's, if you want to use psychological terms, you'll call it the ego self axis. If you're talking in Gnostic terms, you talk about Sophia. If you're talking in terms of tarot, you talk about the High Priestess. If you're talking in terms of Kabbalah, you talk about the path from Tiferet to Keter. But you see, it's all the same damn thing. But a lot of these people will take it to be literally true and then fight to the death with each other. I'm sure you can imagine some psychologists that would perhaps laugh at like the idea of magic. Now, if they're good Jungian psychologists, they probably wouldn't, because Jungian psychologists are pretty damn smart and understand the power of symbol. But you see what I mean, right? Where you can have these different competing, but it's the same thing. It's like a bunch of different it's like, imagine the same product, but with different packaging. But it's the same thing, it just has a different package. So when you talk about Sophia, the High Priestess, or Tiferet to Keter, or the ego self axis, it's all the same thing. So the wisdom, Sophia, represents you unlocking your inner knowledge and intuition and gnosis to be able to forge that connection to your higher self, to have that connection to your true self, to your higher self. And then what you are able to do is sit on the throne as the servant of the higher self. But what you are is the higher self, but your ego becomes the servant of the higher self. So your ego is just another sub-personality. It's another part. It's not who you truly are. You are not your ego. Your ego is just another part. It's just another complex, just like any other complex that you may have. That's what it is. An ego is just a complex. And it can be overridden by other parts of you or other complexes. Your true self is the higher self, which is your center and the totality. So to be connected to your higher self is to unlock the wisdom, intuition, knowledge, and understanding to become aware of your higher self and then become in service to it. But that's you. So you're in service to yourself. So when King Solomon is married to Sophia or married to wisdom, he is able to wear the ring of God with the name of God and be connected to the higher self and command the demons in order to build the temple, which is an individuated psyche. All right, so let's talk about this. If we look at a book called The Wisdom of Solomon, The Wisdom of Solomon says this: I learn both what is secret and what is manifest for wisdom with a capital W, meaning a name. I learned both what is secret and what is manifest for wisdom, the fashioner of all things taught me.
This season on Pluto TV.
Why don't you punch me in the face?
You okay?
I need a vacation.
The holidays are brutal. Kick back with blockbuster movies you can stream for free. Season Feedings on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
We have nearly 300 beaches in Puerto Rico. And each one is a reason to wake early.
Solomon learned what is secret and what is revealed from wisdom, Sophia, the fashioner of all things. Solomon was able to connect to his true self, higher self, through wisdom. It continues, there is in her a spirit that is intelligent, all-powerful, overseeing all. Because of her pureness, she penetrates all things, for she is a reflection of eternal light. In every generation, she passes into holy souls. She is in all of us. She passes into holy souls, meaning those who look within unlock her. Christ is awakening. Sophia is the wisdom that you find when you look within, having awakened. Christ is an aspect of you. Sophia is an aspect of you. These are all icons. These are all symbols for your soul, for your structure, for your psyche. It's not about a guy who wore sandals and did magic tricks with fishes and loaves. It's about the aspect of you that represents inner awakening. That's Christ, who is the emissary of Sophia, because then once you are awakened, you look within and you find wisdom within, you find Sophia. And then that connects you to your higher self, which in Gnostic terms would be represented by Adamus, eye of light, the indestructible eye of light. So you have this trinity of light. We're not going to talk about that much today, but just as a side, you have Adamus, Sophia, and Christ. These are very, very important, a very important trinity. Awakening, the wisdom you find once you awaken, and then the connection and actualization of that wisdom to connect to your higher self through Adamus, okay? But we don't need to talk too much about Adamus today. That's a story for another time. If you want a video on that, let me know. But She passes into holy souls. She is more beautiful than the sun and excels every constellation of the stars. Compared with the light, she is found to be more radiant. Really powerful stuff. That's from a book called The Wisdom of Solomon. Now, according to Gnostic tradition, Sophia is an emanation from the One, the monad, the great invisible spirit, and is much more powerful than the God of the Bible. The God of the Bible is actually her accidental creation, or a shadowy creation of Sophia's. So according to Gnosticism, Sophia is the mother of the God of the Bible, who's considered a dark being. But ultimately, she's responsible for the creation of everything. Everything material, that is. But guess what? She's also found in the Bible. In Proverbs, which is traditionally attributed to Solomon, you have Sophia speaking in the first person. And Sophia says, "The Lord created me at the beginning of his work. I was beside him like a master craftsman." So even in the Bible, you have Sophia as this goddess that was the first creation of God, helping him create everything. So even though the details are slightly different depending on the tradition that you're looking in, there's a very common theme, a very common thread. You even see her in the book of Enoch. Is it the second book of Enoch? No, I think it's the first book of Enoch. First Enoch. I forget which chapter. But Sophia appears in there as well, and she wants to dwell in humanity, but she's unable to find a place to dwell, meaning humanity has cut itself off from wisdom. You see how these stories aren't literally true? They're symbols, they're a way to articulate the evolution of ourselves and humanity. Okay, so here's the thing. So Solomon, the wisest man in the world, is obviously connected to Sophia. And metaphorically speaking, we could say he is married to Sophia in that way. He is bonded with Sophia. He has integrated Sophia, and thus is capable of wearing the ring of God, thus meaning he is connected to his higher self and is able to command the 72 demons and to build a glorious temple, which is an integrated, individuated psyche, a soul, a harmonious soul, a harmonious mind, a harmonious psyche. But there's a problem. There's a very big problem. Because what happens is that Solomon begins to stray away from the Lord. Now, metaphorically speaking, allegorically speaking, it means Solomon is straying from his higher self. He's letting his ego take over. And so what happens? Well, in the Bible, it says,
Teammate, I need your support.
That he had, get this, okay? Among his wives were 700 princesses and 300 concubines. So he had 1,000 wives, 700 princesses, and 300 concubines. I mean, I don't know if they would consider the concubines wives, but regardless, he had at least 700 wives / princesses, and in addition to that, 300 concubines. So 1,000 women he had. That's a lot, okay? But it continues and says, and his wives turned away his heart. So this isn't literally about a guy who had 1,000 women. It's about someone who cheated on Sophia, strayed from wisdom. Because what does it say? It says that once, because Solomon had all these wives, they began to turn his heart away from the Lord, and he began to worship all these other gods and goddesses. it says Solomon followed Astarte, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. So Solomon did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. It continues and says, then Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, and for Molech, the abomination of the Ammonites. And so what happens is that Solomon begins to worship these other gods, which means the ego is no longer in service to the higher self, the one true God. Remember, look, I'm an ex-Christian, so I obviously don't believe in one true, none of that bullshit. But we're interpreting it symbolically, esoterically, and that's what it means. The one true God is you. You are the one true God. And so to worship other gods means to elevate one of your parts as God. The greedy part, the lustful part, the whatever part. You are now in service to that part of you, rather than in service to the higher self, the totality of what your true self, who you actually are. And so you have abandoned wisdom. You are no longer connected to your higher self. You're no longer in service to the higher self. And you are now worshiping other gods. You are now in service to another complex of your psyche, let's say. So in this sense, you have essentially King Solomon cheating on Sophia with all these wives that lead him astray to worship these other gods. Remember, again, all metaphorical. So this simply represents discarding wisdom, and instead of being in service to your higher self, you begin to let different other aspects of yourself control the show, whether it's your ego itself or different complexes, other complexes. A complex of some kind, because your ego is a complex. It's a part. It's a sub-personality. So you are allowing that to be in control, rather than your higher self. So what's really interesting, though, is remember that King Solomon, kind of the main guy that King Solomon gets to help build the temple is Asmodeus, the king of demons. If you saw my video, you know that. But remember, right, he didn't treat Asmodeus well. He treated him like shit. He whipped him. But do you remember what the demon Asmodeus actually does? So in a book called The Testimony of Solomon, it says this: and I, Solomon, on hearing this, bound him, Asmodeus, carefully, and ordered him to be flogged, whipped, with thongs of oxhide, and to tell me humbly what was his name and what is his business. Now again, remember, this is just inner therapy. This is demonic evocation, but that's what you would do in therapy, except you wouldn't whip it. You would unblend with one of your parts, which you would visualize. You would ask it for its name, and you would ask what it does. But you would not, the important part is you come to it not from a part of, I'm going to fuck you up if you don't listen to me, but simply in terms of, I am in control and I have authority, and this is what we're going to do. You see the difference? You're commanding, you're firm, but you're not judgmental and cruel to your inner parts. But Solomon is, unfortunately. So Solomon is okay, Asmodee, I'm gonna whip you and fuck you up. Now tell me your name, tell me what you do. And Asmodeus replies, I am called Asmodeus among mortals, and my business is to plot against the newly wedded so that they may not know one another. And I sever them utterly by many calamities, and I waste away the beauty of virgin women and estrange their hearts. I transport men into fits of madness and desire
Bill Clinton
when they have wives of their own, so that they may leave them and go off by night and day to others that belong to other men, with the result that they commit sin and fall into murderous deeds.
Welcome to Survivor 50, the greatest adventure on television. We chose you, and all we want is everything. Never done a season like this.
Now I see Zach Brown on Survivor. It's a Billie Eilish boomerang idol.
Jimmy Fallon may decide my fate in this game.
I brought a briefcase.
Very important. So what's the main thing that Asmodeus does? Infidelity. And Solomon smiles to him and says, basically, I will lay iron on thee to where? Chain you up. But thou shalt also make the clay for the entire construction of the temple, treading it down with thy feet. And I ordered them to give him 10 water jugs to carry, and the demon groaned terribly and did the work I ordered him to do. Okay? So, Asmodeus is basically beaten into submission, and his energy is successfully redirected towards the building of the temple. However, he's not fucking happy about it. He's pissed. And so this represents not properly having a relationship with your inner part. That's why internal family systems is called family systems, because you treat it like a family. Not something to beat and whip into submission. Now you can come to it with authority and be very firm and commanding, but there's a difference. And we see that later on, Asmodeus ends up breaking free.
Pert.
And remember, what does Asmodeus do? He causes infidelity. And what happens to Solomon? Solomon turns away from wisdom, Sophia, and has all these wives and concubines. So esoterically, symbolically, in terms of psychology, we can understand this as trying to whip into submission a certain part of ourself, let's say lust, but instead of redirecting it in a way that is healthy, it's just beat into submission, it's going to break free and cause us to do something stupid. The complex will take over. And that's exactly what happens in the story of Solomon and Asmodeus. Solomon goes to Asmodeus after the temple is completed and goes, hey, Asmodeus, I've heard you're really strong. How are you so strong? And Asmodeus basically goes, if you take these chains off of me and give me your ring, I'll show you how strong I am. Let me see if I have that. Yes. Give me your ring with God's name engraved on it, and I will show you my strength. Take off the chains, give me your ring, and I will show you my strength. And Solomon did it. Now, obviously, that's really stupid, right? That's a dumb thing to do. Why would Solomon do that? Because it's not a literal story. It didn't actually happen. The wisest man on earth wouldn't be like, hey, you know what, Mr. Demon? I'm going to give you my ring that literally controls you so you can show me how powerful you are. That's just stupid. It's because most of the stories in the Bible are stupid. Most of the Bibles in these religious, or most of the stories in these religious texts are stupid. They're dumb when you take them literally. But when you interpret them esoterically and psychologically and spiritually, everything changes. Because when you understand that giving over the ring to Asmodeus isn't a literal king being dumb, it represents a complex taking over and severing your connection to the higher self. What does Asmodeus do? Ashmodei. By the way, Ashmodei and Asmodeus, they're the same being. It's just different names for the same being. Asmodeus is Latin, and Ashmodei Hebrew, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure. So Ashmodei swallowed the ring. He swallowed the ring and grew until he placed one wing in heaven and one wing on the earth. And he flung Solomon away.
But we knew his name was in that.
But guess what happened? When Solomon was deposed from the throne, Ashmodei took his place. Ashmodei sat on the throne.
His vice president.
Ashmodei sat in the throne and became king. And everyone in the kingdom thought that was was King Solomon. Again, this would be a stupid, if it were taken literally, that wouldn't really make sense. But if you understand it esoterically, that's complex possession. That's a part of you, a complex, overriding your ego and sitting on the throne, in the driver's seat of your mind. Ashmodei has taken over.
Paul, who wrote half of the New
And
Testament,
there's a lot more to this. Ashmodei begins to do a lot of weird stuff, like sleep with all of Solomon's wives. He even sleeps with Solomon's mom, which is really creepy when you think about it, because he was obviously looking like Solomon, because everyone thought he was Solomon, and he sleeps with his mother as Solomon. Really weird shit.
Jesus is a Jew.
Hey, Marty, how you doing, man? I'm on a new level.
I have a purpose. And with that obligation comes sacrifice.
Like the Rothschild said, I listened to an interview with one of the Rothschilds.
You think it's that simple? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Jesus and John the Baptist are cousins, indeed, just like the Bible says, but it's from the Ethiopian branch of his family.
Ashmodei is the demon of,
but they want to tell
help me, step bro, I'm stuck.
Right to say that shit
so Ashmodei is obviously all, again, if you take this to be literal, weird fucking story. But if you understand, this is the complex of lust taking over and controlling your life. And you're just, doing all these things. But eventually Solomon comes back. And eventually Solomon finds his way back. He gets his ring again. And when Ashmodei saw him, it says he flew off in the sky and escaped. So Solomon was able to overthrow Ashmodei, overthrow the complex, wear the ring again, and regain his connection to his higher self. Wear the ring of God. But it says, even so, Solomon was filled with constant fear, trepidation, and terror at the thought of Ashmodei's return. And he has 60 warriors surround his bed at night in fear of Asmodeus, Ashmodei, whatever you want to call him. So
people just gonna get twice as mad
this story is illustrating, organizing the psyche. The only thing that it really gets wrong is
because they'll be like, oh yeah, we ate her.
Treating these inner aspects or complexes like something that you need to beat.
A lot of people still
or treat poorly or torture to get them to do what you want to do. That's not going to happen. And even intuitively, it seems like they intuited this by writing about how Solomon was filled with constant fear. Because if you were truly connected to your higher self and have organized your inner parts, you are not afraid of your inner demons because they're part of you. In fact, when you are afraid of them, that's when they have power over you. So Solomon was never free of his demons. And Ashmodei controlled his life, even from the shadows in the background, causing him to have infidelity and stray from Sophia, from wisdom, and worship other gods, meaning other complexes.
You took the baby, signed it over legally.
And so you can see how Sophia is an incredibly important story. She doesn't get brought up that much in context of Solomon. But literally, Solomon is considered the wisest person. He's obviously in connection with Sophia.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Flanders.
But you can begin to see how all of these stories are essentially talking about the same thing, just in a different language. So the idea here is when we learn about Solomon, we learn about the temple, we learn about Sophia, we learn about all this, it's about constructing our own. We are Solomon. We are capable of wearing the ring. We are capable of commanding the demons. We are capable of constructing our own temple.
You know how people do. Like, why
that
didn't you? That's
is
the first thing that people
what we're
like
doing.
When people are
that is what we're doing. And it doesn't matter what system. If you don't like the Solomonic symbolism, you don't need to use it. You can use Gnostic symbolism. I prefer Gnostic symbolism, to be honest, but Solomonic symbolism is still pretty cool. I just happen to resonate more with Gnostic symbolism. You could use the symbolism of tarot. Tarot, if you look at tarot, you could look at, again, as the high priestess would be your connection to wisdom, Sophia, the ego self axis. All the minor arcana would be the different complexes that you need to organize and harmonize. The court cards are different aspects of the personality, etc. It's the tarot would be equivalent to the temple, which is equivalent to your psyche. None of these things.
It's fire. Please get it. All I need is the beat. I can say anything on a song and it's still gonna slap.
This season on Pluto TV.
I need a vacation.
The holidays are brutal. Kick back with blockbuster movies you can stream for free. Season Feedings on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Hello, Neogenians. Welcome to Dawn of the New Earth. And today we're exploring how Satan is not what you think and how to harness his power before it destroys you from the inside out. Because today we're exploring the Tree of Death and the Tunnels of Set. This is going to be our final video on the Tunnels of Set, at least for now, as we explore the final ones, which includes Satan. It's going to be a very important video as we begin to understand how to integrate these dark aspects within us. We're going to get started right away, but as always, remember, my friends, this is way more than a channel. This is a revolution of consciousness. We are here to wake the world the fuck up, so make sure you hit like and subscribe so we can spread this like fire, because we want to create a better world. Also, if you want to help out even more, become a member. You get access to a lot of great stuff, like members-only videos, free downloads on inner transformation, like Kabbalah and alchemy. There's a ton of members-only videos. You get access to videos before the public does. A lot of great stuff, and it helps out the channel, and I appreciate it. You can also check out my books, and if you're looking for a free way to support, you can follow me on Spotify. Spotify is an excellent way to reach new viewers, new listeners, and it's completely free to follow me on there, so please do. Helps out a lot, okay? Links to all of those things are in the description of this video. You'll find them all there. Okay, so let's begin, my friends. Today we are talking about Satan, the darkest archetype, the most important archetype when it comes to dealing with the Tree of Death, to understand and integrate. This is key, because if you do this, you'll harness his power. And this will give you a better life, a more fulfilling life. But if you don't, it can destroy you and eat you from the inside. So that's what we're talking about today. Let's begin. I want to give a very quick recap and overview of what it is that we are talking about today. I'm going to do this very quick, so if you've heard all this before, don't worry about it. You know the drill. Okay, so we're talking about the Tree of Life and the Tree of Death. What the heck are these things? These are symbolic models of the psyche, okay? So just take the Tree of Death the Tree of Life for right now. This is a model of consciousness and higher consciousness, okay? And it's symbolic because you associate it with different aspects of the mind. Each one of these spheres are called sephirot, and each of the sephirot relate to a level of consciousness. So you start at the lowest level of consciousness and you go higher and higher and higher and higher to higher and higher levels of consciousness until you basically reach God consciousness. It's a symbolic model of the psyche. The Tree of Death is its inverted counterpart, where the energy of these levels of consciousness get twisted into their shadow versions, meaning that these are what block you from reaching higher levels of consciousness. They are called kelipot. So Sephirot, Kelipot, or Sephirot and Klipot. So the Sephirot and Klipot are inversions of each other, light and the twisted light, the husks or the shells as they are called. And so to reach higher levels of consciousness, you need to also block the distorted energy that's blocking you from doing this. And the different paths are the lessons that you need to integrate to reach the highest levels or to clear up different blockages, okay? And the reason why that we use these symbols, we talk about things like angels and demons, is because your unconscious communicates through the language of symbolism, not the language of words. Okay? So we want to communicate with our unconscious mind. We're mapping the psyche. And so the Tree of Life and the Tree of Death is like technology. It's psychological technology. It's soul technology. It allows you to map out and navigate the realm of the unconscious. Because the unconscious communicates through symbols. That's why we use symbols. Doesn't mean that there are literal angels fluttering around with wings or demons with pitchforks. They are icons or archetypal symbols that represent forces within you, within your psyche, and this is how we talk about them. Okay? So, we're going to get started right away. From where we left off last time.
Isn't it time for her to be a grown woman?
So, we're coming very near the end. Let's see where we're at here. So, tunnel 12. Okay, tunnel number 12 is Barachiel. Okay, Barachiel is number 12. And Barachiel connects Ceteriel and Talmiel. Okay, so it's this tunnel right here that connects Ceteriel and Talmiel. See, we're pretty much, we're not pretty much, we are at the top of the tree now. Okay, so
that's the same instance. Oh, you figure it out, you let me know what's going on.
Means understanding. Ceteriel is the twisted version of Binah, which is the concealer. Conceals. Chokhmah is wisdom. Forget Chokhmah. Keter is the crown and represents unity. Talmiel is the twisted version, which means it represents division. All right? So, the path that we're talking about links concealment and division together. All right? Now, psychologically, this is heavy. It's where concealed structure meets ultimate division. And if we're talking about the planetary associations, we have the shadow of Saturn, which is the black cube of Saturn, connected to the shadow of Pluto, which is Pluto and Chiron's void. So this is consciousness fractured at the highest level.
I'd feel like a shitty fucking mother.
Step into a new 2026 Sportage and set out on your next adventure from King Kia. Wherever the road takes you, Sportage.
Barachiel is the shadow of the magician. Okay? Which means, all right, which means this tunnel is going to be about language, communication, symbols, and the power to shape reality through the mind. So, the Mercury Tarot card is associated with, the Magician Tarot card is associated with Mercury, okay? The Magician Tarot card is associated with Mercury. So Barachiel is Mercury in its distorted form. Mercury is the messenger, the communicator. But the idea here is that this is also related to Hermes, the trickster. So we have here this idea of language and communication, but it's what's the twisted version of that? Deception. You see, we have Satariel, the concealer, when it comes with the power of language, results in deception, the deceiver. So this is the ape of Thoth that imitates wisdom. So Thoth is about communication and language. The ape of Thoth is this little ape that fucks around with the language to confuse it. All right? So what's going on here? And remember, we're at the very top of the tree. We're dealing with very high levels of consciousness here. So a lot of this can be very abstract. If it doesn't click with you right away, it's one of those things, just watch it a couple times, let it wash over you. We're talking about some of the highest levels of consciousness here, so it can be a little tricky to understand if it's your first time coming across this stuff. But don't worry about it. It's all going to be good. So what is Barachiel? This is the tunnel of the cult leader archetype. And it represents the one who knows how to speak, but speaks in a way that divides and conceals instead of unites. So when Barachiel blocks you, your relationship to language becomes corrupted. This is what it means. You are the corrupted magician. You understand how people think. You even have some degree of understanding of divinity. You understand how symbols work. You understand how narratives shape reality. You understand how consciousness works. You understand how to manipulate consciousness. But instead of using your knowledge and understanding to ultimately help people reach higher and higher levels of consciousness, you use it to control. So this is where communication stops being about truth and starts becoming about control for personal gain. You twist words, selectively reveal information, or frame reality in a way that benefits you personally. A lot of manipulation. You see this in cults and secret societies and religions. It happens quite a lot in those domains. You might not even technically lie, but you distort, okay? So that is Barachiel, the magician corrupted. The magician who becomes the illusionist who deceives. This will be like through manipulative spiritual leaders or gurus who demand secrecy or obedience. Barachiel divides, cuts truth into pieces, distorts, and hands it out selectively. So here's the thing. Language shapes reality in the human mind. Language shapes reality in the human mind. Language shapes consciousness. So this distortion at the level of Barachiel becomes incredibly dangerous. Very, very dangerous. This is how entire belief systems trap people. This is how minds are literally colonized.
AI is predatory for musicians, and it's here to literally take our jobs. And that's what you would say if you didn't know about platforms like Ayote. Ayote is an AI music creation tool that's modeled after real musicians. And every time you use one of their musicians, they get paid. So it's almost like you're in a session with them. Here I have a basic beat that needs a little bit more zhuzh. Let's add one of their musicians, and let's see what a trumpet player would do. Okay, I'm gonna highlight the 4 bars that I want him to play, and I want him to play a melody. You know what? I can work with this. And dragging the stems to the project is literally just boop and boop. Ooh! I have no drums in my intro. I can add a beat maker there and see what he comes up with. And then I can drag this drum loop over here to my Logic, drum machine designer, and now I have this entire drum kit that I can just play. Look, AI is not going anywhere, but it's companies like Ayotti that are making a positive change.
So, Barachiel may even try to convince you, and I've seen this happen, that, oh, the truth is too powerful for humanity. If people understand truth, they would panic or collapse or destroy themselves. I've seen, people who are involved with secret societies like make this excuse like, oh, people can't handle the truth. They can't handle it. We have to lead them. We have to be the one who we have to withhold this information because they couldn't handle it. Or we have to give them this really dumbed down version of it. So that's what Barachiel does. Barachiel can convince you of that because, most people don't think they're the bad guy. They convince themselves that it's for a positive purpose. But it's not. Barachiel is that twisted energy within you that controls. Now remember, we're talking about very high levels of consciousness here. So it's about an individual that has gotten a very high level of consciousness that understands divinity, understands truth, understands symbolism, but uses it to control rather than to liberate. Okay, but what about when we integrate Barachiel? Remember, we want to integrate all of these patterns exist within us. So we want to acknowledge them and then redirect that energy in a positive way. So when we integrate Barachiel, integrate is a fancy word that means deal with. So when we say integrate Barachiel, it means deal with Barachiel. How do we deal with Barachiel? You can't just get rid of Barachiel. It's part of you. So how do you integrate it? You integrate it where you use the power of language and the knowledge of symbolism and archetype and metaphor, not to control, but rather to liberate. Now let me explain. Again, this is some high-level stuff, so don't feel bad if it's a little confusing at first. That's totally fine. Just listen to it, and it'll click. So this is where the Aleister Crowley's grade of the Magus becomes important. The Magus is the magician. And what is a Magus? Well, Crowley said that the Magus utters a word that reshapes the world, and that a Magus ushers in a new eon. What does that mean? A Magus ushers in a new phase of consciousness. A Magus arrives in the world and transmits information such that it kickstarts a new level of consciousness in humanity. So, for example, you could say that Jesus was a Magus, just as an example. But here's the interesting thing that Crowley said about the Magus, that the Magus speaks in lies. Why? Because absolute truth cannot be spoken directly. Can't be spoken directly to the human mind. It has to be translated into symbols, metaphors, stories, and language that the human psyche can digest. So you see here that when we're working with the Barachiel energy, remember it's this path right here. So we're connected to the very highest levels of divinity. And so basically what the Magus is trying to do is trying to bring the energy that's up here or up here, depending on how you look at it, trying to bring this energy up here down to levels where, people at this level or even these, people at the lower levels of consciousness can understand. So you're trying to bring the energy or the truth that's up here all the way down to, at the very least, somewhere in here. But I mean, most people are down here. But so you see the problem. Now, Barachiel, when it's corrupted, just goes, oh, fuck it, we're going to manipulate the hell out of people and use it for personal control and personal gain. Whereas Barachiel Integrated goes, okay, how can we tell these stories in such a way that it helps elevate humanity's consciousness so eventually they get up here as well. Barachiel wants to be up here and control everyone down here. But when Barachiel's integrated, Barachiel becomes the positive archetype of the magician and wants to help everyone come up to their level, to the crown, get there.
Welcome to Survivor 50, the greatest adventure on television. We chose you, and all we want is everything. Never done a season like this.
Now I see Zach Brown on Survivor. It's a Billie Eilish boomerang idol.
Jimmy Fallon may decide my fate in this game.
I brought a briefcase.
At Vistaprint, we print signs so people can see your brand up close. But we also print signs so that people can see your business here, see it here, and see it here, so you stand out. Even when they're way back here. Get 15% off signs and banners at Vistaprint.com.
Okay? So, but the reason why that Crowley says that the Magus lies is because you have to use parables, metaphors, language, language structures and stories to communicate to humanity that's at that level. So it becomes distorted. Not in a malicious way, but inevitably, it just does. So think about Jesus. Jesus spoke in parables and stories and metaphors. Now, his parables were technically lies. They're fictional stories. When he said the kingdom of heaven is a mustard seed, that's a lie. The kingdom of heaven is not a mustard seed. But it encodes a truth about a singularity of mind. Something that seems very small but contains everything within it. But saying the kingdom of heaven is a mustard seed, that is technically a lie. But they weren't meant to be taken literally. They're containers for higher truth. But guess what? People misunderstood him anyway. And not only did people misunderstand him, but evil individuals then twisted his message to use it as a method of control, to control the population. But let's ignore that part for now, okay? So Jesus wanted to communicate a message to the world, and he did so through parables and metaphors, but people misunderstood him. So that's why Crowley says the Magus speaks in lies, because he speaks in stories and metaphors and symbolic structures, or in some way that's not a one-to-one mapping onto direct truth, because it's just not possible to do so unless you're just literally speaking in mathematics, and no one's going to know what the heck you're talking about if you're doing that. So, but then the fact that people misunderstood the Magus, Crowley called that the curse of the Magus. That's the curse. What is the curse of the Magus? The curse of the Magus is that the Magus knows truth, but must speak it in a form that distorts it, and must accept that ultimately the Magus is going to be misunderstood. The Magus is not going to be understood 100% correctly. There's going to be misunderstanding, but you're trying to get, that's like the best that we can do, is provide these catalysts, these stories, these symbols to help people wake up. When Barachiel is integrated, you understand this responsibility. And so you don't use language to dominate minds, but to wake up understanding in minds. Now, you still are shaping reality. That's what language does, but you're doing it ethically. Your intention is no longer about control, but elevation, raising up consciousness. So what Barachiel does is gives you the ability to speak symbolically without intentionally deceiving, and to use metaphor, but not for manipulation, and influence, but not about enslaving. And the idea too that you can transmit truth, but knowing that it's never going to land perfectly. So in that sense, instead of being a cult leader or a spiritual guru that's manipulating people or whatever, you become the true magus or a true teacher. You know that some are going to misunderstand, but the key is that you refuse to weaponize that misunderstanding for personal power. Rather, you use your language and your symbols and metaphor aligned with the absolute, aligned with
I'm a lone wanderer, a gunslinger who only relies on my own quick hands to get out of a jam. As I search for the next town that needs saving, which is damn near all of them. It ain't much of a plan, but it's mine.
the crown. So you use it to unify rather than divide. So when Barachiel is not integrated and it has a negative effect, you are dividing through the concealment of language and keeping people controlled in a lower state of consciousness. When it's integrated properly, you unite and help people reach higher, you communicate unity, and you use language and metaphor and symbol to help people raise up their consciousness. Okay? So that is what Barachiel does. Now, what can you do to integrate Barachiel? Let me bring up some of my notes here. So let's talk about some ways that you can integrate Barachiel. So to integrate Barachiel, basically what you have to do is about understanding how to use symbol, language, and archetype to communicate divine truth. I mean, we're at some pretty damn high levels here, okay? We're talking about like some of the highest levels of consciousness that you can talk about. It's apparent. It's basically once you have glimpsed truth, how can you communicate this now? How, this isn't.
What are you asking?
This is way beyond like, oh, I'm jealous of my friend because they have a better car than me. That's real low on the tree of death when you're dealing with that kind of energy. Here, you're dealing with, okay, I understand divinity. How can I transmit that to humanity without becoming corrupted or without being the corrupter? So, integrating Barachiel is learning how to do that. So some ways you can do that is by practice explaining a complex idea using a story or metaphor.
Go eat it and get out of my face crying.
Understand how to use symbolic language. Think about if you can communicate an idea through music, through art, through a story. How can you communicate these ideas in a way that resonates with the consciousness of humanity, such that they can understand what it is that you're saying and getting across? You can study how the human mind responds to stories. Learn about archetypes. Learn about emotional hooks. Learn about framing. Not so that you can manipulate, but so that you can give people the keys to free their minds. It's basically like when you're at the level of the Magus, you understand how the mind operates, such that it's kind of like looking at you're almost like a mind hacker. You understand how the mind works, how archetypal symbolism affects individuals, and so you become this mental hacker, sort of. And if you are using distorted Barachiel energy, you're like hacking other minds to basically be your slaves or to get what you want. But when you're using it in a positive way, you're like giving people the keys to understand how to hack their own mind, or like you're running a virus scan, or any one of these things. You're essentially trying to train people to understand how they can liberate themselves. That's the key difference here. So let's see. You can also, this is a very important one, is consciously encourage people to think for themselves. Super important. Really important. That's why whenever someone comes on here and says, where should I start? I say, take a Philosophy 101 class. I don't know how many people ever listen to me. You don't even have to take a class. There's a playlist on YouTube by, what is it, Dr. Richard Brown, something like that. It's a great playlist because philosophy will teach you how to think.
That's fire.
All I need is the beat. I can say anything on a song and it's still gonna slap.
This season on Pluto TV.
Why don't you punch me in the face?
You okay?
I need a vacation.
The holidays are brutal. Kick back with blockbuster movies you can stream for free. Season feedings on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
And guess what cult leaders want? They want you to not think. They don't want you to question. They don't want you to think. They don't want you to know how to think. They want you to fall in line. So by being the positive aspect of the Magus, encourage people to think for themselves. That's why I say on here too, when you listen to me, I don't want you to believe what I say. I want you to begin to understand why I'm saying the things that I'm saying. There's a difference. I could tell you anything. Don't believe me just because I say it.
I want this shit so bad.
Understand why I'm saying the things I'm saying and connect the dots in your own mind so that you can come to these logical, so you can know why it is that that a certain thing is the way that it is. So for example, when I say, oh, reality is a collection of positive and negative energy in perfect balance. Sounds good, but how the heck? But when you understand the laws of mathematics and see that reality must be equal to 0, which is a unification of all positive and negative numbers in balance such that they result in 0, you see that you understand now why I say a certain thing. So the point is, when you're using Barachiel energy positively, you want to get people to think for themselves. You want to get people to start doing this themselves. Because you can't, you will not reach a higher level of consciousness just by literally believing what someone says. You'll reach a higher level of consciousness when you begin to work it out in your own mind. So everything, that's why I talk about Gnosticism all the time. Gnosticism is not true. It's a metaphor. It's a parable. But it can become a catalyst for people to be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, the God of the Bible is kind of a dick. Maybe everything I've been told isn't true. Maybe something else is going on here. What's going on here? Wait a minute. What is reality? What is existence? What am I? What is matter? And then that train of questioning and exploration happens. Not just like, oh yes, I believe that, Yaldabaoth is the bad guy and we have to help Sophia return the light to the source. Okay, but why? What does this actually mean? What's the real message behind this archetypal symbolism and metaphor? So basically, the key thing is this. Ask yourself, am I trying to be understood or am I trying to be believed? You don't want people to believe what you're saying. You want people to understand what you're saying. Now, belief might come along with that, and that's fine. That's great. That's good. If you're like, oh, I understand what you're saying, so I believe you. You see the difference? I understand what you're saying, so I believe you. Not, oh, sure, I believe you because you said it really loud and with language that makes me feel good about myself. You want to understand, not just have blind belief, because then it's just religion. So, Barachiel is a very, very important archetype to understand and work with and integrate properly. Now, for most people, you probably, you're, like I said, we're dealing with very high levels of consciousness here. So, if you're at the level, where you're dealing with, oh man, I'm jealous of the money my friend makes or something like that. That's quite different in degree to, oh my God, I understand the secrets of the universe. How the heck am I going to tell people about this? And don't be a manipulative asshole when you do it, right? There's a big difference. And it's just about how, where you want to get to, where you want to go, how you want to live your life. You need to, but eventually, if you reach, basically it's like this. If you are attempting to ascend, the tree of life, you can ascend as high as you want. You could go up here and then just stop and be like, no, this is too much. This is hard work. I don't want to do anymore. I'm going to stay here. But if you keep going all the way, you're going to get to the point where, I need to deal with Barachiel energy. So when you're here, this is when you need to deal with Barachiel energy. Okay? All right. So let's move on. I apologize. I'm still a little sick. If my throat sounds kind of scratchy, that is why. So let's see here. Next, we are talking about...
I would say it's like having another producer in the room that knows exactly what your song needs. This is Co-Producer, the fastest way to find samples that fit your track. It listens to your track and pulls in samples that fit the rhythm, harmony, and key automatically. No more scrolling and no more random loops that don't match the vibe. You can ask it to find specific sounds or let it listen to your track and suggest something that could be cool. Plus, you get unlimited access to every sound, so no credits, no paper download, just drag and drop. Simple. You can audition everything inside your DAW. Stay in flow, stay creating. And the sounds made by actual musicians. Analog processed, crazy good. If your sample workflow feels stuck, this is gonna be the fix. Try Co-Producer free and let your track pick the sounds.
Twisted Tea is a refreshing, hard iced tea made with real brewed tea. Keep it twisted.
Tunnel 11, which is Amproteus. Okay? Tunnel 11 is Amproteus. So this tunnel connects Gahagiel, the confusion of God, which is the shadow of Chokhmah. Chokhmah is wisdom. Gahagiel is confusion. Okay? Wisdom, confusion, which links to this particular path to Talmiel. Again, we saw this is the shadow of unity, which is division, the divided crown. Okay? So, what's going on here? This is the point where we are dealing with chaotic, unfiltered force colliding with the ultimate fracture at the top of consciousness. Planetary-wise, this is related to the shadow of Neptune, which is Dionysian madness, insanity, plunging straight into the shadow of Pluto, which, as we saw again earlier, is Pluto and Chiron's void. Okay? Madness and void. Madness and void. So here, what's going on? Here, there's no comforting structure left. Amproteus is the shadow of the Fool tarot card. The Fool stands at the edge. and Proteus stands at the edge of the void and madness. So, psychologically, Proteus represents what happens when consciousness stares into the source, but sees nothing but void. So, when Proteus blocks you, you arrive at the edge of reality and you collapse in despair. You are staring into the void. You are staring into the heart of reality. And you see it as endless cycles. You see the infinity. You see the endless repetition of existence. And you feel despair, isolation, exhaustion, nihilism, absurdism. Everything starts to feel meaningless. That maybe ultimate truth isn't real. And consciousness just loops forever. So what happens here with Proteus is some people will intellectualize this and become cold philosophers of meaninglessness. Others can feel this emotionally as depression, numbness, existential dread. And on a spiritual level, this is the terrifying idea that unity is loneliness. That being one means being utterly alone. So Proteus looks at the source, looks at the absolute and says, so this is it? An infinite void repeating endlessly into infinity.
Yo, I feel like my ears
In
are
Kabbalah,
creating extra earwax to
the
protect me
light
from
of
this.
existence is called
Stop
the
screaming
Ein
so
Sof
loud.
Or, which is the limitless light. But Ein means nothing. Ein Sof means the limitless, but it's more like the limitless nothing. Ein Sof Or is the limitless light, but it's built with nothing. So it's the endless light of nothingness. And this can turn to the belief that knowledge of truth is unattainable, detachment, feeling like life is just a cruel joke. This is a very heavy one. This is a heavy tunnel. This is a heavy path. This is the fool stepping off the cliff and falling into the void.
My kidney disease was genetics all along. I always think about the generations that are coming behind us and how important it is for us to ensure that they're armed with what they need to survive in their generation.
Okay, so how is this? How can you integrate this? How can you deal with this? Let me tell you. So, by the way, I forgot to mention, if you guys are looking for these cards, they're in my bio. I have a link in my bio where you can get these if you want. There are versions with black edges or without black edges, just because one is cheaper than the other, and I wanted it to be somewhat affordable. The website is, Anyway, link in bio if you're interested. So how do we integrate Proteus? When Proteus integrates, that void or joke doesn't disappear. You just stop being afraid of it. But ultimately, this is where freedom lies. because the fool is free. So when you integrate Amproteus, it teaches you that it's not that reality is a cruel joke, that it's a game. You see, that's the difference. Amproteus, when it blocks you, life is a cruel joke, endless suffering. When you integrate Amproteus, life is a game. We get to play it again and again. The cycles are levels in the game. New games to play. Aleister Crowley said that we are divided for love's sake, for the joy of union. So we go through these cycles of annihilation and well, unity and division, unity and division, unity and division, but it's for the joy of unifying again. Separation isn't a mistake, it's the rule of the game. So when you see reality this way, everything shifts because the infinite stops feeling like suffocating and starts feeling creative. Meaning stops, well, not that meaning stops, but truth is something that reveals to you that it's the proper understanding. But basically, look, if existence is a cosmic joke, you can unlock the ultimate freedom because it's a game. When you realize it's a game, you can do anything. You're free. You're free to play roles, free to explore, free to fail, free to begin again. Have fun. That's what the world needs right now. Everyone's got such a big stick up their ass. Like, oh, how you should dress, how you should look, what gender you should be. Oh my God, our avatars, they're just avatars. Have fun. Experiment. Be free. The fool leaps because he understands the joke and he's ready for the ride. You laugh in the face of the void. Life is this roller coaster of ups and downs, but it's fun when you understand it for what it is. Let's talk about integrating Amproteus. Now, there are a variety of ways that you can do this. To integrate Amproteus is consciously treat life as a game for a while. Begin to see it that way. Practice seeing it that way. And approach your choices in a way where you're curious. Experiment. Ask yourself, what happens if I try this? You ever see those videos on TikTok or Instagram Reels where, well, what is the caption? It says something like, the caption is something like, when you discover you have when you remember you have free will. It's something like that. When you remember you have free will. And then it'll show a video of like a guy walking down a path while he's hiking and then just being like, huh? Oh yeah. And then he just walks off the path and goes in like a completely different direction. It's that sort of energy. Experiment. Have fun. Be safe. Be careful. Don't be stupid. But experiment. Engage with play. Do creative things. Do absurd things. Experiment. And this can be like drawing badly, dancing alone, writing, whatever. It doesn't matter. But you want to connect with that joy of the Fool. The Fool is not a bad card. The Fool is a very good card. It represents freedom and new opportunities. That's you're stepping into new things joyously. And then contemplate the idea that since reality is infinite, then every moment is a chance to explore it from a new angle. So when you integrate Amproteus, you don't see the void as empty, but as brimming with possibility. Let's say you look at a blank canvas. If you look at a blank canvas, unintegrated, Amproteus is like, there's nothing there. Everything is meaningless. Amproteus integrated goes, let's paint a picture. It can be whatever we want. That's Amproteus integrated. Okay. So,
This season on Pluto TV.
I need a vacation.
The holidays are brutal. Kick back with blockbuster movies you can stream for free. Season Feedings on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Don't get angry!
Get Archer.
That being said, let's talk about Satan. So, we're going to talk about the devil. Satan is a very special, unique tunnel that's different from all the rest. So, Satan, as a klipot, is number 11. But as a tunnel, he is number 33. I don't have this up on screen. I'm pointing and you're not even looking. Okay. As a klipot, Satan is 11. But as a path, he's number 33. So remember that as the klipot, as a klipa, klipa is klipot singular. As a klipa, Satan is basically like the integration of all the klipot. And as a tunnel, as number 33, he's the integration of all paths simultaneously. Because look at the structure. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then boom, 11. This is because 11 within it contains, not literally contains, but it's the synthesis of all together. And so Satan is path, klipa 11, but path or tunnel 33. Because it's the integration of all the paths, of all the tunnels, but especially the paths above the river of forgetting, the river of Levi. So it's especially the paths that are connected to the top 3, the shadow of the supernals. This is why Satan is where he is. He's not just another sentinel, he's the sentinel. Planetary wise, Satan is the shadow of Uranus, which is the Promethean dark fire. But he's also more than that. Satan is also the shadow of the entire solar system. Every planetary distortion in one. Now, symbolically, we represent Satan as the high priestess, or the shadow of the high priestess Gargophius, because Satan is concealed in this card. You see her head lands directly on the path, and she is haloed. Her halo is Satan. So, Satan is not evil in the cartoon sense. Remember, these are all energies that are part of us. So Satan is everything that keeps you from divinity. But it might even be convincing you that you're getting closer to it. But that's the great illusion. Satan is called the father of lies. And these lies might be in the form of partial truthhoods, but that ultimately lead you away from the absolute. So Satan is vanity, power, greed, despair, isolation, spiritual superiority. Satan is the distortion of every path, but like I said, especially the ones above Levi. The transpersonal ones, where you forget the absolute or try to wield power without being aligned. So, this is the voice that says, I am God. But it's a dark twisted version of it. So, Satan can block you in a number of ways because it's all the illusory items that keep you from understanding. It's divinity turned inward and sealed off. And this is the true meaning of hell in this system, disconnection from the divine network. You don't really fall into hell, you cut yourself off from heaven. It's a very low state of consciousness, a consciousness that attempts to cut itself off from divinity. That ultimately is an illusion. You can't cut yourself off from divinity, but it becomes so obscured that it becomes hellish. So, to understand Satan properly, you have to see him as the unintegrated sum of the tunnels above the river of Lethe. And so, let me see here. Do I have all the cards? Let me take a look so that we can see what we're dealing with here.
Wawa has your favorite go-tos, so give our clubs and paninis a go. Gotta have a Wawa.
So the tunnels above, let me see. Here. One moment, I'm missing some of my cards. Here we go. So, from Cherasith. Cherasith represents obsession with beauty, sex, money. From, man, I did not have these cards. Where are all my cards? From Zamradiel. He inherits false binaries, dividing reality into rigid camps, identities, ideologies, and absolutes. From Urians, he inherits false authority, saviors, messiahs, ideologies, religions that still revolve around an external power. From Tsufliu, he inherits domination, power over others instead of power aligned with the true will. From Dagdagiel, he inherits disillusion, losing the self in unity or freezing life through over-analysis. From Gargophius, he inherits the most dangerous idea or lie of all, the idea that you can exist apart from the absolute. And from Barachiel, he inherits deception, language and symbols used for manipulation rather than liberation. And from Amprodius, he transmits the despair, seeing the void and losing joy instead of laughing at the cosmic game. Satan ultimately represents all the paths, but most importantly, these that are above the river of Lethe, because these are the ones that are cutting you off. They all cut you off from divinity at some point, but this is the ultimate path that you have to cross to be able to reach the highest levels. And so Satan is the systemic failure of integration. Satan is lies and fracture and distortion. But there's good news here. Because when Satan is integrated, you transform that energy. So, as a tunnel, what Satan integrated represents is the successful integration of every tunnel on the tree of death, but especially these, the ones that are above the river of Lethe, the river of forgetting. So from Cherasith, you keep glamour, but you understand how appearance, money, and sexuality and presentation can be tools used in a positive way. From Zamradiel, you gain fluidity, no longer trapped in rigid binaries or gender ideologies or spiritual identity or gender binaries or whatever. You can move between roles without being owned by them. You can understand that reality is fluid and you're free to express yourself in whatever way you so will. From Urians, you gain the inner authority. You don't need a religion or saviors or gurus or prophets or systems to tell you who you are or what to do. From Tsufliu, you gain real leadership, not dominance or submission, but the power of presence, knowing how to speak, how to stand, how to persuade, how to lead. From Dagdagiel, you gain embodied divinity. You can experience pleasure, beauty, nature, emotion, and connection without losing yourself. And with Gargophius, you gain true higher self-awareness. You recognize yourself as an eternal, individual mind, a soul, a zeta, while knowing that you're still part of the absolute. With Barachiel, you gain the power of language and symbol. You understand how narratives shape consciousness. You can speak in metaphors, stories, and archetypes and ideas that people can actually grasp without turning it into manipulation. And with Emprodius, you gain ultimate freedom. You see reality not as meaningless, but as a cosmic game, as play. You can experiment, fail, begin again, and you can laugh at the void instead of collapsing into it. So Satan integrated is what allows you to coexist into this ultimate synthesis of transformation. Satan is the rebellion against everything that would separate you from your divinity, from yourself, and from others. When Satan is properly integrated, you gain that power of rebellion of everything that keeps you and us and all of us small. Remember what the serpent said, eat from knowledge and you will be as God. So Satan integrated gives you the ultimate power that expresses itself through yourself and reality. So this is where the Promethean fire starts to really become illumination. You question everything and you're able to see through the illusion. When you have the power of the father of lies, you can see through all the lies. You refuse to bow before false authority. And you gain all these powers, but now you do it in alignment with the absolute, not against it. So I am God transforms into I am God as an expression of the all. That's the difference between hell and godhood.
Welcome to Survivor 50, the greatest adventure on television. We chose you, and all we want is everything. Never done a season like this.
Now I see Zach Brown on Survivor. It's a Billie Eilish boomerang idol.
Jimmy Fallon may decide my fate in this game.
I brought a briefcase.
Step into a new 2026 Sportage and set out on your next adventure from Bayer Kia Falls Church. Wherever the road takes you, Sportage offers the perfect blend of performance, capability, technology, and comfort with class-leading cargo room and second-row legroom. Embrace the journey in a Kia Sportage. Click now to view our inventory during the season of new traditions.
So, integrating Satan is the most difficult, obviously, of the paths to integrate because Satan represents all the paths. But the good news is that at least Satan's integration is pretty straightforward because it's the integration of all the others. So it's about putting this all into, you can use any of the exercises for all these paths because you need to integrate all of them to integrate Satan. But integrating them together is about learning how to take these powers and synthesizing them. So what I mean is, like we already talked about this, but right, like so, Cherasith teaches you how to use appearance, sexuality, image. Sufliu teaches you, the Emperor teaches you leadership, persuasion. Barachiel teaches you symbolism, metaphor, and Proteus gives you freedom. We already talked about this, but it's about using it all, combining it all together. Becoming the leader who knows how to present and communicate and the freedom to do so in a radical way. So it's about getting all of these energies working together instead of seeing them as isolated pieces. And a good example of that is like the Emperor or Sufliu and Barachiel, which is the shadow of the Emperor and the shadow of the Magician. The shadow of the Emperor is leadership, rhetoric, and persuasion. And you combine that with the Magician, Barachiel, metaphor, symbolism, understanding how consciousness works, and you get they're working in synthesis. So it's about getting all of these things working in synthesis for two purposes: to transform your mind and your personal evolution, and so you're able to spot the lies and the bullshit, and to help transform the world so that you're able to transform the universe, transform the world, transform others without getting corrupted by unresolved shadow patterns that will ultimately throw you off in one way or another. So that's what's important to understand, is when we're talking about Satan, Satan is not a demon to destroy. It's the part of you that exists and will always exist, and you need to acknowledge it so that you can integrate it. Now, remember, this is some high-level stuff. So it'll take it. Remember, you can go as high as you want. You can go as far as you want. And everyone is in a different step in the journey. And so the integration of Satan is really going to start to come into focus when you start getting to these levels of consciousness. When you start to cross the abyss and cross the river of Levi. You start to cross the.
Welcome to Pohanka Acura, the #1 Acura dealership in the world. Experience 3-row luxury in the capable Acura MDX.
Welcome to Dawn of the New Earth. My name is Morg. I'm an ex-Christian revealing hidden information to create a new world. And today we're talking about the realm that is higher than heaven, as Jesus reveals this hidden realm in a banned Gnostic text known as the Sophia of Jesus Christ. And so we're going to be taking a look at this today. We have a whole playlist on this. We've been reading from it. But today we're taking a look at the section where Jesus really starts to reveal this hidden realm, this secret realm that exists before creation, that is higher than heaven, and the beings that exist in there, and how this realm is structured. It's going to be really good. We're going to get started right away. And by the way, I am in California. There's a lot of fires going on right now. Luckily, I'm in a place that's not in too much of a danger, but I do have my phone around just in case there's like an evacuation notice or something. So if I have to, go fast, or if power goes out or something, stick around because I'll get the computer going up and running, and let's you know the drill. Anyway, that's that. So, as always, if you enjoy my channel, please become a member. Hit the join button to help me create better content and more content and reach more people. It helps out a lot. You get access to our members-only videos and my free PDF downloads for members, where I put together extremely helpful written material that goes along with my alchemy video series. So right now there's about 6 PDFs available from members, all outlining how to do inner alchemy and self-transformation. So that's free downloads for anyone who's a member. And make sure you check out my new book, Neogenesis, Dawn of the New Mind. I actually have a 5-part book series out right now. This is the first one. Start with number 1. And you can find the link to that in the description of this video, as well as a link to my Spotify channel. Please follow me on Spotify. Okay, are we ready? Did you hit like? Did you hit subscribe? Probably not. Do it right now, and then we will start. Have you done it? Okay, let's start. We're talking about the hidden realm beyond heaven. So we're going to get right into it. And like I said, this is a banned Gnostic text known as the Sophia of Jesus Christ. And if you want to read this for yourself, you can read them for free on gnosis.org. That's gnosis.org, gnosis.org. It's a great website, and you can read all of these Gnostic texts for free on that site. It's great. So let's just start, and it'll become clear what we're discussing. So this is Jesus talking. Jesus is talking to his disciples. Basically, Jesus is in kind of like a Q&A session. His disciples are asking him all these different questions about reality and existence and who he is and what reality is and how they got there, etc. So Jesus is answering one of the questions about what these higher realms are, okay? So Jesus says, "Now immortal man revealed eons and powers and kingdoms and gave authority to all who appear in him, that they might exercise their desires until the last things that are above chaos. For these consented with each other and revealed every magnificence, even from spirit, multitudinous lights that are glorified and without number." All right, so what is Jesus talking about here? So first he says, immortal man reveals eons and powers and kingdoms. What we have to realize is that when Jesus says immortal man, he is not talking about a human being in a physical body. In Gnosticism, the primordial human, or anthropos, is a god, an extremely powerful god. So it's not until later that a lesser god, the God of the Bible, essentially traps humans into matter, that they become what we would think of as a human today. So when Jesus is saying immortal man, he's not talking about a human in a body. He's talking about a god that is one of the most powerful gods. In fact, immortal man is the consort of Sophia, and Sophia is the eon of wisdom and considered the mother of the universe. So this is very close to being the source of reality. The source of reality. So Jesus is saying how immortal man revealed eons and powers and kingdoms and gave authority to all who appear in him, that they might exercise their desires, etc., until the last things that are above chaos. So chaos is associated with the material world. The material world, they thought of as Hades, as chaos, as a destructive realm. And even the heavens of the God of the Bible are the heavens of chaos. And so it's, according to Gnostics, this is a very hellish realm, a very chaotic realm, a very destructive realm. Immortal man is the one that is above these realms, above the realm of chaos, creating eons and powers and kingdoms. And this is when we get to the idea of eons. So remember, when we're talking about eons here, eons, usually people think of eons to mean a length of time. Like, oh, that was eons ago, or eons in the future. That's not what eon means in Gnosticism. In Gnosticism, eon refers to a world or power or being. And this is because it's sort of all these things at once. So let's take Sophia as an example. Sophia is an eon. But Sophia's name literally means wisdom. So Sophia, in the story of Gnosticism, is represented by this character called Sophia. But what does she represent? She's wisdom personified. She is this energy, this power, this realm that is the power of wisdom, of information. And
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside.
In the dark between stars, memory doesn't die. It waits. It drifts. And sooner or later, we find it again. There are records, carved in stone, buried under the dust of millennia, that defy our sense of time. A list of kings, rulers from a time before memory. They ruled for tens of thousands of years. Historians call this mythology symbolic numbers for a forgotten age. A primitive people's attempt to grasp the concept of a long time ago. Before the flood, kingship descended from the heavens, and the reigns that follow aren't human by any measure. They read like the shadow of another world pressing against our own. A record of a time when beings older, stronger, and far stranger held power long before the first human city was built. The tablets treat them as gods. But strip away the later mythology, and they read like something else entirely. Real entities, with structure, with hierarchy, with history, with an origin that doesn't start on Earth. The ancients called them the Anunnaki. At the top, Anu, the distant sovereign of the heavenly realm. Below him, two very different figures, Enlil and Enki. Their rivalry would shape the destiny of humankind for all coming time. Two philosophies. Two approaches to creation. Two forces locked into tension long before Earth was selected as a project. And surrounding them were others, lesser but still powerful, each tied to a realm or function, a divine bureaucracy with roles, inheritance, and succession. Not the behavior of abstract gods, but a society. Even older than the gods tied to Earth were the Apkallu, the seven sages. They appear in the texts as advisors, engineers, and architects of knowledge.
Okay, there you go. We brought it to Angel's room. Did you heard?
Dope, super dope.
And we got it in Angel's room.
We got Broly, Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Too big? Oh, that's a good one.
Superman shirt, Super Dad, Super Dad stuff.
Haha, Super Date stuff. Where is it?
Are you ready to go, guys?
Not yet. I can't find my
One of my favorites, Spider-Man colors. I don't know if they're new. Haven't checked them.
No.
Let's go check. Fire Goku. All the Super Saiyans right now. Fire colors. Love. It's love.
guys, it's showtime. Yeah, it's showtime. It's showtime.
I caught you red-handed.
We was going in there. Can we play games there? Can we play games there? I want to play this. That's your favorite Goku. What's your favorite Goku, Daddy?
This is Broly.
This is Broly? How'd you get here? It's right here for you, Daddy. Get him out. What? We got it for you, Daddy. Ooh. What was that? What is it? That was so hurt. That hurt. Ooh. You could get Goku and him and that villain. Hi, Goku. Yeah. Let's see if we can fight with them. It's gonna. I shoot this. That's so much fun, Daddy. Let's see how fast it goes. That was crazy. It's too strong. That's so awesome. That is cool. Merry Christmas, Daddy. Now Santa's going to come here and give me some presents for me and you. But you already got some. But you. So Entra and I are getting presents now. Come on, Muriel. Show. On here. Ooh, that's.
But with a turning. The drivers lined up. The red racer was confident.
Come back this way.
Daddy, his hair is spicy. How does his hair get spicy?
Power.
You have power? How? Hair is spicy.
Catch him out. Too old for that.
What?
Too old for that.
I'm not old.
You're too old to be doing that.
I'm 5.
Exactly. It's too old to be putting stuff in your mouth. Babies do that.
Babies do?
Are you a baby?
No.
Exactly.
No, I'm not.
Exactly.
No!
What? I'm not calling you a baby. I'm telling you you're not a baby. Get away from the TV.
Do you think you're a baby? he have the power? Does he have the power? Both of them have powers, but this one's so big. And we play with them both.
You want to see?
Yeah. Huh? Are you that guy? Let's get one go to that.
Let's go! Zootopia 2 has everything.
Breathe it in.
Besties.
Screamo!
Cute fuzz.
Broly's a danger to us all.
This doesn't look good. Do you think he's really finished this time?
I'm afraid so.
I'm not so sure. Shall we put him to a little test?
Broly, look! It's such a tragedy! Do you hear me? It's your father! He was killed by a stray energy blast!
What a lovely sight. That was the anger I wanted to see.
What the hell are you waiting for, Kakarot? Stop dawdling! It's pretty obvious you're not going to defeat him by yourself. I hate to admit it, but I think you're right. Let's go, Vegeta! I'm way ahead of you!
There's magic in the arrows. This is the biggest challenge we've ever done. Tonight, we complete that.
Look, I'm about to tell y'all exactly how Broly smoked the entire Z Squad. Cause I won't even lie to y'all. When I first watched this movie as a kid, I was a innocent youngin'. I didn't know anything about the world. But this man Broly single-handedly burned the definition of the word slaughter into my mind. And I was never the same again. Don't get me wrong, I love DBS Broly, but he doesn't have that dog in him like Z Broly. Now y'all know I gotta start at the scene where Goku and Broly first met each other. Cause as soon as this man Broly saw Goku, he already knew it was on sight. And this man Goku was not afraid of him either. Just look at how he was staring at him. He was looking at him like, bro, what you about to do, dog? Cause I know you ain't about to fight me.
Why you keep running your goddamn mouth? Come to the street, lame man, nigga. Come to the street, bro. I will beat your motherfucking ass, huh?
They were going head to head. Goku was staring down Broly like he was prime Mike Tyson. But little did this man know just what was in store for him. And then this shot right here is the definition of aura. But then Broly started calming down. He was like, you know what, bro? We not gonna do it right now, bro. Just wait. I got time for you, but it's not gonna be right now. And if you know Broly, you know this man is a monster. He took out his own father's eye with one touch. Look at this evil ass face. I ain't even gonna lie, this man Paragus has the god seed.
He was a true warrior, born with a strength and clout that would make most Saiyan fathers proud.
Cause my man Broly spawned in with a 10k power level on everybody's head. This man was so powerful that even in his restrained state, he was still able to transform into a Super Saiyan. And it was at this point that Broly knew it was time to slide. Straight from the get-go, as soon as the battle began, he had Goku on defense. And then the music starts bumping in the back, and you hear that. No, that's the wrong song.
It was the night before game day. The countdown begins for teams with one goal: to win. All this plus a halftime display. NFL Christmas Game Day, live on Netflix.
With Smart Plus campaigns, we went from 250,000 downloads to over 1 million downloads in less than a year.
We've generated over 100,000 leads, which has converted into over 40,000 sales for our pet insurance policies.
Get started today with TikTok Smart Plus.
You hear that?
What's this all about?
Yeah, there we go. And then we cut to Broly hitting the Frieza pose, and he had Goku absolutely shook. He only had 2 words to say for my man Goku.
Die, Kakarot.
And he absolutely meant them. But our man Goku is not going to roll over and die. So you know he has to go on the offense. But it's just not enough. This man Broly hits a certified freak moment. I know what you are, buddy. You ain't slick. Goku tries to punch him again. He ate that, and he starts relishing in the pain.
Stop it, Broly!
Just listen to that laugh. He is an absolute demon. My boy Goku got extremely lucky right there, because we all know what was going to happen if Broly continued to transform. Now, as we fast forward to this scene right here, I need y'all to remember these exact words that Paragus just said.
Vegeta, he must be confused. That's preposterous, not to mention completely impossible, my lord. Look at him. He has less power than I do. The boy's pitiful. Can't you see that?
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
Goku and Broly start another stare down, and this is where the absolute best part of the movie happens. Vegeta tries to kick Broly. He ate that. Vegeta throws a ki blast at Broly. He ate that. This man Broly starts cackling like an evil witch. He had the all-white eyes and the lightning going off in the background like he was low-tier god.
You are worthless, bitch ass nigga. Your life literally is as valuable as a summer ant.
And this is without a doubt the best Super Saiyan transformation in the entire franchise. Y'all could fight me in the comments all y'all want. I don't care. He completely explodes out of his body and had the whole entire atmosphere changing colors because of his raw power. And look at poor Vegeta. He realized he was a fraud. He was quaking in his boots. My boy was absolutely terrified. He realized he wasn't built for this. With one transformation, Broly took away Vegeta's entire soul like he was Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
Your soul is mine.
And then Broly drops the hardest line in the entire movie.
You, Kakarot, I choose you to be the first of my victims.
Now, before we get to the main action, I need to give y'all a warning, specifically to the Vegeta fans out there, because every time he shows up on screen, I am going to be endlessly baking him. If y'all see my last anime video, y'all already know about how I feel about Vegeta. Now, I don't remember him being this much of a fraud, but when I rewatched this movie for this video, I realized just how much of a fraud this man actually is. And I had an entire video where I talked about this man. Vegeta was really out here trying to say,
"What the? Are you completely insane? He's the most powerful Saiyan in all of history."
I don't understand why you even did this to yourself. This made you look so fucking stupid. This shit make you look so stupid.
Like, bro, if you don't shut your lame ass up, man, you not out here putting in work. The entire reason why you came to this planet was to find this dude. And now that you found him, you finna act all scary? Nah, bro, you not safe. I am so close to putting Vegeta back on the fraud watch. Now let's get back to the action. I don't know what people be talking about when they say that Broly only says one word. If you really watch this movie, bro, he just casually drops some of the coldest lines in the entire series.
Oh, look. The little slaves decide to be brave. I noticed that you love to look up in the sky at your silly old planet. You're probably dreaming you could go back there someday.
But it's just a dream!
What's he doing?
Oops, did I just blow it up?
He's pure evil.
My boy Gohan got it spot on. He is absolutely pure evil. Even just that scene alone clears the one-word allegations that everybody be throwing around.
Kakarot, how much do you love your son?
Your time has come.
This season on Pluto TV.
I need a vacation.
The holidays are brutal. Kick back with blockbuster movies you can stream for free. Season Feedings on Pluto TV. Stream now.
There's no way out of this one.
That one line right there just completely sealed Gohan's fate for the entire rest of this movie. Goku tries to knee Broly in the chin. He ate that. Broly then proceeds to completely violate Goku and Trunks, and then just flexes on them by powering up so much that he starts to destroy the entire planet. Just look at this man. He knows exactly what he is doing. My boy Piccolo shows up and he and Broly start exchanging words.
A little green bug has come to get squashed.
You usually pick on the children first?
I do what needs to be done. What do you expect from a true freak?
And what did I say earlier, bruh? I knew this man Broly was a freak. Even he knows it himself, bro. And then it just cuts back to Vegeta getting mentally touched by Paragus yet again. It's actually so funny how everybody is out there just fighting for their lives, and Vegeta is just sitting here getting endlessly baked by Paragus over and over again.
I'm just gonna stomp you. You're gonna keep coming back. I'm gonna seal up all my cracks. You're gonna keep coming back. Why? Because you keep smelling the syrup, you worthless bitch ass nigga.
Now we want to talk about Z Fighters getting absolutely smoked. This is the scene that shows it right here. Broly absolutely charges through a 4v1. He said, "You can't touch me, Goku. You can't touch me, Piccolo." And Gohan and Trunks, they did not even stand a chance. Broly legit just charged through all 4 of them like he was a linebacker. When I told you that Broly literally stole Vegeta's soul like Shang Tsung, I was not lying. Piccolo literally grabbed him and started baking him to his face, and Vegeta was just sitting there like a lifeless corpse. Piccolo said yoink and revoked his warrior card.
What do you think you're doing? Why don't you stop whining like a baby and fight like a man? Why? What for? Broly's unbeatable. You call yourself the Prince of Saiyans.
Goku, please. Please don't do it, man. You know what's gonna happen, man. Please. Goku tried to hit him with the Kamehameha. He ate that. And while Broly is savagely beating Goku into the ground, our boy Vegeta, he finally pulls it together. Everybody, please give Vegeta a round of applause.
Bruh. Nope. Nope.
Nope. Never mind.
What? Finished already?
Oh, Vegeta gets taken out in one hit. And then Broly flexes on him by powering up. I swear to God, this had to be Toriyama's decision, bro. This man made an executive order for Vegeta to take the biggest L in the entire movie. Now, y'all remember when I told y'all to keep those words that Paragus said about Broly in the back of y'all's minds?
Look at him. He has less power than I do. The boy's pitiful. Can't you see that?
This is the moment that Broly decides to get his lick back. Cause I know damn well he was not just standing there listening to his own father roast him for him to not decide to kill him later on in the movie. This has gotta be one of the worst ways anybody can die.